Because all we need to do is give you permission for you to be you.
Oh my goodness.
When you know who you are, you'll know what to do.
That's amazing.
This moment, you've been waiting for this your whole life.
Oh my goodness, I wish I was in the same room because I just want to hug you.
You can't fix a problem using the same thinking that created it. And by the way, beautiful, you didn't do anything wrong.
Thank you.
Your show is not a show, it's an experience.
What do you do, Stephen?
I'm the universal courier that's been sent to answer your doubt.
Thank you.
What the heck is happening right now?
And it's happening live.
My life's about the gift I've been given to make you the gift that you are.
Ready cameras, studio standby.
Video is ready for live.
If I enter your life, it will change. Start investing in the world called your dreams.
This is it. Can you believe it's the first show of season 2, Inspiring Insights? Welcome. Welcome, everybody. I'm Andrea Sanchez, host for today, reporting from Houston, Texas. Alongside, we have Kelly, who is our globetrotting producer, all the way from Arkansas today, I believe. Joining also backstage, you won't see her, but she is what we lovingly called our guru lady, is Melody, who is getting ahead of the Societyland and touching on insights as well and gathering those for us. We have 2 fabulous guests with us today. Before I introduce them, I want to introduce the fabulous, the one and only, the very inspiring Stephen DeSadie, the host of the evening. Hello, Stephen.
Good morning from tomorrow, everyone. How you doing? Sorry, the audio is kaput. Apple did us all a favor and updated my machine just before the show started, and now everything's not working, but it doesn't matter. Everyone, one of the things that we are committed to doing is making sure that if you watch this show for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or all of it, within 5 minutes of you leaving, if we haven't given you something that'll make a difference to someone else or yourself, then we've failed and we're not intending to. So my number one message for today, everyone, is people are going to come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And so often we focus on why they came, why they stayed, or why they left. What I want you to understand, your job is to connect with what you became because of them, entering your life and leaving for that reason, entering your life and staying for that season, or being lifetimers. Your job is to not evaluate why someone came and went. Your job is, who did I become because of them? And who I've become because of it is, after 6 months of rebuilding everything that was told we should never change anything, 5 minutes before the show, everything stops. But you know what? I don't care, because I'm so focused on helping you. And if the microphones turn off, I'll get Ashley to help me do sign language. Andrea?
That's beautiful. I totally agree, Stephen. Everything happens for a reason, and we must trust the journey. And speaking about journeys, we have a masterclass, as is the routine and what we do here in Inspiring Insights show, all about fostering forgiveness. In order to trust the journey, you just need to be willing to really embrace who you are at a soul level. So why don't we take a look at that class right now?
Masterclasses are back. There you go. Episode 1 of season 2. Fostering forgiveness. So we always do definitions of each of these words as we progress through this. So what does fostering and what does forgiveness actually mean? Fostering is to promote the growth, development, to further, to encourage, and forgiveness is to cease feeling resentment against, to pardon, or to cancel. Hello, Minnie. So fostering forgiveness in Societyland is to promote, listen to this, everyone, promote the growth of pardoning your resentment. So you've heard me say this a million times. If you're new to the show, you're about to hear it for the first time. Forgiveness, everyone, is a commitment. It's not a feeling. And feelings are emotional states of internal and external perceptions, not influences, but perceptions. We'll come to that later. And commitments are foundational states, everyone write this down, of who we are, what we hold to be our truth, which is the grounding philosophy of creating a perspective. And those perspectives are regardless of the internal and external circumstances that have tried to convince you otherwise in the form of those things called opinions. To foster is to commit beyond yourself. To foster forgiveness is to anchor into who you have always been. In Sadieland, we call this your towers of expertise. A little bit quicker, Kelly. In Sadieland, we call this your towers of expertise. So whether you're a C-suite entrepreneur, whether you're in the discrimination space, congratulations and bravo to you if you are, whether you're a producer, a creator, your towers are anchored into your childhood. And we'll expand on those as we go through this series. This is why, as children, we float above anger, resentment, past hurts, and we forgave back then so easily. Children forgive so easily. So as children, we commit to behaviors. As adults, we evaluate our losses. And as adults, many of us have become strangers. Listen to this, everyone. As adults, we've become strangers to our instinct and our intuition. So we're going to go deep for a second on this one. Loss distorts our reality, and distorted reality impacts our perception. False perceptions fuels our judgment. Our judgment rules thoughts. Our thoughts become things. And these things that are derivatives of our thoughts from our judgments that are fueled by false perceptions that are impacted by our perception of what reality is around loss, these thoughts become things, and these things are our actual reality. So our loss impacts us in that way. Our loss impacts us in that way. So next one, Kelly. A child's reality is grounded in faith and hope. Just hold on this for a second, Kelly. A child's reality is grounded on faith and hope. As adults, our reality is released by fostering forgiveness, and we define fostering forgiveness as promoting the growth of pardoning your resentment. So let's ask some questions in the Desadie takeouts that are finally back after so long. Question 1, everyone, when you forgive, do you notice it's from a place of faith and hope? Just pause on that question for a sec. When you forgive someone, or you're preparing to forgive someone, and goodness knows you may even forgive yourself, do you notice it's in a place of faith and hope? Number 1. Number 2, when you commit, have you noticed that it's with faith and hope? And here's the kicker, everyone, as always, in number 3. Your anger and resentment, is it void of faith and hope? And the answer is, when you're angry and you're resentful, there is no faith and hope. Andrea? Oops. Where's Andrea gone? Oh, we lost Andrea.
We've lost your volume, Andrea.
Andrea, you're muted.
I'm so glad I'm muted. I'm back. So show 1 is awesome. So we are, I was saying, I love the question between number 1 and number 2, Stephen, because I never thought of forgiveness as a commitment. I've always considered it as a feeling or something that will come to me. And when the time is right, it will come to me and I will move past that situation or past what that person did to me. But when I see it as a commitment, it changes the game. It completely changes the game, because that puts more of the power in me that I can make up my mind and not wait around, that I can move on from what I've been experiencing. So that was a really powerful epiphany for me. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and just on that, there's that whole concept, as I did that masterclass, was it's almost insulting with some people who are guests on the show today for me to say that your childhood memories and some of your childhood anchors are what defines you. But the reality is, as children, we always live in faith and hope. I don't have kids, but I'm around enough of them over my lifetime, and especially now with all the Desadie ladies and everything. How often are you committing to your faith and hope? Let's just do this for a second, Kelly. How often, everyone, are you committing to your faith and hope? Most people aren't committing to their faith and hope. Most people's version of faith is to go to a Sunday Mass, and bless them for it. But if you can't commit to your faith and hope, and they're the foundation stones of forgiveness, how are you going to foster it? And little kids, they just hope they're going to have fun, and everything else is irrelevant. So they just commit to fun, which is their hope. So everyone, the next level on in season 2, forgiveness is a commitment. It's not a feeling. And the first step of commitment towards forgiveness is to lock it into the faith and hope you have in your instinct and your intuition. And that's why you can find a way to manage past the disruptive past that sometimes conditioned all of us so badly and with so much damage. Faith and hope is the foundation stones of forgiveness, because you've got to commit to that first. Andrea?
Faith and hope. Brilliant. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Stephen. Now the moment everyone's been waiting for is meeting our fabulous guests. We have Michelle, we have Renee. So who drew the straw going first today for this experience? Is it Michelle?
I think it's Michelle.
Let's go with Michelle. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We are so excited to have you here and have you back, actually. I know you've been in season 1, and it's always a pleasure. Are you ready for your question?
I don't think we're ever ready for our question, but, bring it on. It's always a pleasure to be here and find out when you ask the question, what's going to happen. I like that part.
Wonderful. Get ready for a magical moment. I'll leave you with Stephen.
No pressure then. Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it as always. So what are we talking about today? Because the whole theme's around fostering forgiveness, but your question doesn't have to be related to that. So what are we talking about today so we can help some folks?
Well, mine's sort of related to that. I think you in part answered some of what I was thinking about.
Yep.
And for me, it's about forgiveness as a tool to create a future state of peace. We each have experiences every day interacting with people, and we have a choice to make, a commitment to make based on our principles and values, how we're going to relate to them. And I think sometimes we hold on to stuff that we don't need, that doesn't serve us. And I know for me, that was a big part of my life experiences, coming to a place of deciding what served me and what didn't. And I like what you said about faith and hope being an anchor. But for some of us out there, what future state of possibilities do we create when we interact with our colleagues, our family, those we have relationships? When we're anchoring ourselves in forgiveness as a commitment, how do we leverage that? Because not everybody is in that space of accepting a state of letting go of that resentment. It empowers them to stay anchored in that.
You've heard me say this a few times before if you're around us. If this is the present, this is the past, and this is the future, there's a couple of things we're going to do. One in terms of the concept of a tool, one in terms of the concept of a timeline, and one in terms of the concept of a future state, which is different to what I've done in the past, Michelle. A lot of the times we live in the present by constantly reflecting on the past. And we look for the past, whether it's good or bad. And some of that past is motivated and driven by the opinion people might have of us as to what car we drive, as to what part of the world we live in, what suburb we live in, all those types of things. So we then start wondering, well, like, I used to be a multimillionaire. I used to be a really rich guy. I used to own a couple of houses. I used to travel around the world. And it would be easy for me in this moment of today, after all of this work to get everything set up, that all of a sudden things are not working. Whatever. It's disappointing, but whatever. Well, as Al Pacino says, you tangle up, you get tangled on. I could easily start thinking, well, boy, oh boy, Steve, look at all those things you did in the past. What if you didn't stop the show and you kept going? And what happens is, in the context of yourself as well, Michelle, there is some significant issues that have happened in your life, personally, professionally, romantically, spiritually, maternally, in the context of children. And in the present moment, when life punches you in the soul and you get winded of your spirit, it's easy to go back and normally go, I've had a downer, so I'm going to talk about what are the things that actually impacted me. And what's that called? This period. What's this process here is called resentment. And there's no faith in resentment. There's no hope in resentment, because you're now having an opinion, which might be a self-opinion. It might be an opinion of someone saying, oh, God, Steve, your show was crap today because the audio wasn't good. And then you go back to, well, blah, 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 blah. Or I shouldn't have let Apple upload the new software today, or whatever it might be. But when you are sitting in a place in the present and you have some type of hit, what happens is you go on the journey of resentment into the past and start in almost romancing or going out on a date with some of the really nasty things that have happened. And some of them might be just little hiccups like an Apple upgrade. Some of them might be significant in the context of Anne and Nathaniel passing after 159 days as an infant child, significant things. So number one, what you need to do is, the easy option then, Steve, is what I'll do is I'll focus on the good of the past. No, you make a decision about the past. Your past burdens have two options, for the future. One option is you're going to take the past burdens and use them as hurdles to make excuses from. You're going to take the past burdens of what happened and make them excuses. Or you're going to take the past burdens and turn them into platforms to serve from. Michelle, you had a circumstance with a young child. You had a circumstance with your husband passing, a child passing. You've now got yourself into a beautiful situation with Peyton, who's got some special circumstances because of issues in her life as a young 10-year-old. You could have easily gone down the road of life thinking, woe is me, I left New Zealand. I came with the hope of getting married and having a family. I did get married. I did have a family. And then through circumstances of unimaginable pain, both of those individuals are no longer with you. And you could have easily spent the rest of your life saying, with resentment, woe is me, how dare they? How dare the universe, God, serendipity, whatever it is. But what did you do? You went out and fostered a 10-year-old child who needed your help, who came from a very disruptive background. And you are now making her into a young lady. And guess what? It's working. Because what you decided to do is replace resentment and take the burdens of the past and use them as platforms to serve from. So when you said the word tool for me, a tool, everyone, is simply a tactic with an objective that you're aware of the obstacles and you have a lasting commitment that you will use the tactic and the objective that you're chasing. You'll understand that obstacles are going to come in your way and you're going to be lasting. What's lasting called? Relentless faith in your decision to never quit.
Yeah.
That's what a tool is. Most people think a tool is fixing up the software in the studio so we won't have this problem again. That's not a tool. That's just a temporary passing asset on the road of life. A tool is a tactic. What's one tactic? I'm going to take the platforms, I'm going to take the burdens of the past and make them a platform. What's my objective? I'm going to make a difference in someone else's life because I know what it's like to have loss in mine. Number three, what's my obstacles? I'm not going to go for the easy option because I already know what the hard option is. And standing on platforms, you stand in places of challenge while most people are standing at the bar on a Friday night. And you understand obstacles will come because you've lived with them in the past and you're now standing on them as platforms and you're lasting because here's the kicker, everyone. What else can they do to me? That's why you're such a class act, Michelle, because you've disconnected from the journey of resentment. You've placed your burdens as platforms. It's the tactic, the objective, the obstacle, and it's the lasting commitment. Because what are they going to do to you, Michelle? Take a child off you? I'm sorry, sweetie, but they already have. Lose a husband? I'm sorry, sweetie, it's already happened. There's nothing you can do about it except live for two and you and be a brilliant asset to humanity. Andrea? You're muted again, Andrea. Stop muting yourself.
I'm trying to be respectful because my dog wants to be part of the show as well. So.
Minnie can join in, don't worry. You'll probably inspire me. But yeah, and just in the context of that.
Yeah, no. So, Michelle, you continue to inspire me, and that is certainly a huge superpower to see beyond. As Stephen was saying, is you disconnected completely from the journey to use it in a positive way. I can see you, and I've always sensed that about you, that you do go into that platform despite what you went through, but you use it in a positive way to inspire others and raise awareness. So I really, really look up to you, and I'm so glad that you're here to share that.
Michelle, what was the reason for the question? I completely concur with all of that. What was the reason behind the question?
Because I decided to stand up on the platform and find a way to help other people. And how do you voice what I've been through and give them a way to shift through their life experiences so that they have a sense of empowerment? You know, how does one sum up their life experiences when it comes to forgiveness and moving into a space of saying, I got through all of these things and this is how it came out at the other end. And I knew that you would find a way to dance on the whiteboard in a way that people would get it. I mean, for me, it's just hearing you say stand in places and resilience, and it's like those are all very true in my case.
What you need to do, Kelly, down on the board for me, please. There's three things. Sorry, got that wrong. There's three. When you're telling a story, and I'm going to say this, and you've heard me tell this people have heard me say this in terms of the context of how to do storytelling. Let me just reflect that on terms of how you actually engage yourself to communicate and tell a story. No, and this is said with lots of respect to everyone, whether that's Renee in the green room and Michelle on camera with us right now. No one cares about your struggle. They will sympathize in the instant and in the moment, but it's not that they don't care. They will sympathize with it, and then their life calls them and they get on with it. They will sympathize in the moment. So guess what, everyone? Tell people what your struggle is. Just tell them. People also have not got time to sit around and to switch their life off while you actually tell them endlessly and endlessly about how I became a multimillionaire in England and I was just a really fabulous guy and I did this. Blah, 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 blah. No, guess what? For the same reason they don't care about your struggle, but they'll sympathize. They don't care about your success. But what they want to know, Michelle, how on earth did you go? I'm so sorry for that circumstance, sympathy in the moment. How on earth did you go from that position to this position of success, to be a mum with a child and to be coming on the show and be so open and be so vulnerable and be the type of woman that you are and human being you are that Andrea's just mentioned, and I fully concur with. Teach me about the journey out of the dark valley, and that's what they want to know. Too many people have confused storytelling is, let me tell you how crap my life is, or let me tell you how wonderful my life is. The people who are excelling are teaching you about what was that transformational moment that took me from someone who lost everything to someone who now wants to give everything back from a place of unimaginable loss. Andrea?
Agree completely with Stephen. It takes a certain type of courage, Michelle, to be in that sweet spot, what Stephen just delineated. And I don't know many people that are willing to go there, but it takes just one person to make an impact and give courage to others to go there too. So thank you for being that person.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your question. We are now, we'll go back. Why is this show an experience
And not just a show.
I can answer that with a question.
How brave are you?
What happens
on this show?
You muster up your courage, any of you.
And you go live in front of the world.
And you ask a question of vulnerability that you struggle with.
You are given the awareness you need from the universe.
Through Stephen, of how you can handle the struggle.
Can you
handle doing that?
Can you?
Because this is your chance personally.
The courage you put into it
Is equal to the
Value
you get out of it.
Do you have what it takes?
inside of you to change your life.
Only you can decide.
What is your struggle?
And how big is your courage to move through it?
You have no idea what this experience can do for you.
Stephen has a gift
That you can experience.
But only if you have the courage to go live.
Your life will contract.
And expand.
Based on your courage.
This could be your step to expand. You can. We all did.
A little secret. We all did, including myself. I was a season 1 guest. I hit the button. I didn't know what to expect. And now I'm here hosting along with Stephen, a whole other level of courage. If it did it for me, it could do it for you. So I welcome all of you to be a guest, and our fabulous Melody will put the link out there or get in contact with you if you're interested. Next, we have, last but not least, our second guest, Renee. How are you, Renee?
I'm great, excited, nervous.
Those are all healthy emotions. And you are also calling from Australia.
I am on the
homeland.
Sunshine Coast, yes, in
All
Queensland.
right.
Yeah,
Are you ready for
I
your
am.
question?
I am. I am.
Okay. Let's take it away.
I love that I got to go second because there was so much of what Michelle said and Stephen, of what you've just unpacked, that I was like, oh my gosh, this is just, I'm just soaking this up like a sponge. And my question, Stephen, in relation to forgiveness is, I find that it is so easy, if that's not too big of a word, to extend forgiveness to others. I think one of the hardest forgiveness journeys that I experienced was forgiving my mother. So much of the abuse that I experienced as a child, she was my primary caregiver. So through adolescence, there was 5 years of my life that I just broke off contact with her because it was just so hurtful. I felt so let down, I guess, and unloved, that my mother didn't see what was happening for me. And I spent that 5 years deciding and going through the motions of, did I want a relationship with her, or was I willing to close the door on that? And I came to a realization that, yes, I wanted a relationship with my mother. So I spent many years in therapy and I worked through that. And when I had my own daughter, I reached out to my mum and said, you know what, slate is clean. I want you in my life, and let's do this. And it was amazing. It was very transformational, and it was a beautiful thing for both of us. But I find myself, even with the coaching that I do with many women that have been through abuse like me, forgiving ourselves is such a hurdle. And recently, through conversations with yourself and through conversations with other people, I have realized that I'm in a stage of my life where this is starting to creep back in to the way that I approach what I do in life and the way that I look very much at my past, what you said before. And I find that this is a constant hurdle for so many of us. You know, we forgive those that hurt us and we love people and we go, yep, let's do this. But when it comes to ourselves, we continue to beat ourselves up. And I know that if I could just be so much more self-aware and really nail this issue that keeps coming up for me, what is on the other side of that is just so much beauty and love and release and peace. And I'd just really love to ask you, how do I do that?
I don't know, ask Andrea. Andrea knows, and Kelly can help as well. The Guru League could help as well. Okay. Let's, have I got permission to be respectfully blunt?
Oh, always.
In the gentleman we respect the do, because you're a part of the Desadie ladies. Forgiveness is complete. It's like the gravity. You don't go to Houston and the gravity's slightly different. The climate's different. The culture's different. The food's probably different. Variation on the theme. Clothing's probably different, but gravity's the same. Commitment, forgiveness is complete. It's like gravity. So when you say, I've forgiven my mother, but I haven't forgiven myself, sorry. That's like saying, well, I'm going to go to Houston and float. All the spaceships take off from there. That must mean there's lower gravity in Houston than in Sydney or the Sunshine Coast. No. First point to you, which is the abrupt bit, forgiveness is complete. So when you say, I've forgiven my mother, but I haven't forgiven myself, you haven't forgiven. It's the same as saying, I'm going to go to Houston because there must be lighter gravity there because that's where all the spaceships take off from, so it must be easier. You must be able to jump further in Houston. No, it's exactly the same. Forgiveness is complete, everyone. Stop thinking that you can forgive someone externally and then say, well, I've forgiven. No, you haven't. Second thing is committing to what? So this is the past, this is the future, this is today. We've just said that forgiveness is complete. So every time you say, I've forgiven one, but not, I've forgiven others, but I haven't forgiven myself, always remember that we should all go live in Houston so we could be Olympic athletes and we could jump higher than anyone else because the gravity is lighter there. No, it's not. What are you going to commit to what? So when you said my mother, and I'll say mum and my mum, so I get it right for the American audience as well. So when you say you committed to your mum, hi mum, if you get to watch this. When you said you committed to your mum forgiveness, didn't do it to you, we've already talked about that. But why did you commit to her for? Why did you commit to forgiving her? What for? And you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah.
But take the helicopter up 30,000 feet, as my mentor Bob would always say to me, take the helicopter up to 30,000 feet without going into the content of why and what said and who said. What was the context, the bigger picture of why you committed to forgiving your mother? Big picture.
That relationship was crucial to me.
And the one with yourself isn't?
And that's, ow.
Sorry. The second thing is beautiful. What did you do wrong?
Nothing.
Don't have to go into the details, but whatever happened in your childhood with this astonishing disrespect that I know a little bit about because of a YouTube video and some articles you've written, so I'm not betraying confidences in our conversation. When you were a 10-year-old little girl, what did you do wrong?
Nothing.
How hard is it to forgive nothing? It's easy, isn't it?
It is.
As a parent, should you have been protected in your home?
Absolutely.
But you weren't.
No.
But the person who should have protected you didn't, but you forgave them. But the 10-year-old that was lying around wherever this was happening didn't do anything wrong, but you can't forgive her. Why? You're a smart young lady. Why can't you forgive yourself? Because
I judge myself so much harshly.
But what's judgment? Judgment's a decision on good or bad. Judgment's an evaluation on whether I did this good or this bad, and a lot of people live their life on the judgment of opinion. So beautiful. What's the chances that you haven't forgiven yourself because you're wondering whether there's an external judgment of what happened to you when you were little based on society's view of that stuff? Don't know. Maybe. Might be something there. Everyone, inspired by Renee, for everyone, start asking yourself the questions that are at 30,000 feet, the horizon questions. We're talking about forgiveness. We're talking about disrespect to a young girl at 10, and I'm talking about the concept of gravity. That's what you need to do. Go out to the edge of the atmosphere and look down on your life and start asking the questions about did I do anything wrong? No. Then how come I forgave and respectfully, and I respect you for doing it? Because you know what? What are you going to do if you don't forgive your mum? And everyone, what are you going to do if you don't forgive that person who let you down? What did I say in the masterclass? People come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. My family came in for a season. They're gone now. And that's the judgment that I made. But what you do is you focus, like I said for those inside of Soul Shifters and inside of Sadieland, I put out a video last night where sometimes the thing that wraps around opportunity is called problems, is called anxiety, is called relentless failure. But what unwraps the wrapper to the opportunity is your focus on what you want. Now, I know when I listen to this back, I'll be disappointed with the audio, but it's not stopping me being present. Renee, What did you commit to when you forgave your mum? Helicopter view. What did you forgive for yourself? Oh, but I'm judging myself, Steve. What? And you may not want to answer this. What are you judging yourself on? What past failure or current assessment of someone else is making you can't forgive yourself?
That's what it is. You've just hit it.
It is. You know, I have to forgive my mum because I can't let my mum live through her life that she had a child, and oh God, I can't let her feel like that, and that's beautiful, and I respect that. My parents didn't want me when I was born, but every single day I give gratitude for the fact they gave me this life so I can do things like this right now and have beautiful ladies come on and in live situations publicly speak the way that you are because of the life they gave me. Did I particularly appreciate some of the neglect and the fact that I wasn't the girl they wanted and as the fifth son? No, I'm so grateful they gave me this life. And so I forgave them for their resent that I wasn't the gender they wanted on their fifth attempt to the world to get a kid. You probably have gone, you know what, I think what I need to do, because it's probably a bad thing, I've got to forgive my mum because I can't let her go to the grave, and everything's outsourcing to someone else. And I've got to be really good to my partner or significant other, whatever your circumstance in life is, and my children or child. I've got to be really good to them and to my coaching community and to my clients and guests, if that's what you call them. You're so outsourced to everyone else, you've forgotten about you. I know that. I forgot about me for 50 years. My face fell off because of it. What do you want to commit to in forgiving you? And that's the answer that you need to find a question to. And if you hang around with me in Desadieland, you'll find it. Because at the moment, it's easy for you to say, maybe I should forgive a parent for what they did. By the way, I owe them for this life you gave. You know what? When your parents invite you into this life, you owe them nothing except the opportunity to do something with it. And you sure as sugar don't owe them forgiveness if they disrespected you on the journey, on the way through when you were their one protector. But as an adult, there's no point in having the resentment of not forgiving. So you forgave. Guess what? If you can forgive her, you can forgive yourself. But you're too busy judging, and you haven't got enough judgment on yourself because maybe there's shame associated with what happened. Well, what did you do wrong? Did you do anything wrong? As a 10-year-old in your own private home, did you do anything wrong? Well, first of all, I didn't do anything wrong. Are you a good mum? Are you a good lady? The little bit I know of you, yes. Are you a good partner if that's what your situation in life is? Do you have honesty and integrity? Do you have hard work? Do you have commitment? Here's the biggest one, Renee. Do you have the courage to tell everyone what happened to you at 10 because you want to serve those who are unfortunately dealing with it right now? Right now, somewhere in the world, some little 10-year-old's getting done to her what happened to you, and you're prepared to tell the world you're going to serve about it, but you won't forgive yourself? You have no right to stop the potential of your ability to serve. You have no right. And I'm not being mad at you. You just have no right, beautiful. You've been given a gift. And guess what? What happened to you at 10 is a gift. You know how I know? Because you're prepared now to serve from it. Because what would you be doing if that didn't happen? You wouldn't be running your coaching business.
No.
And you think, oh God, what's the meaning in your life 10 years from now, Renee? The ability for you to know that others won't have to go through what you did. Wow, that's a gift.
Yeah. And I see it at that. I truly do.
You need to ask yourself, what are you committing to? And the best way of doing that, so the best thing to do is, okay, well, there was a period in my life where I did some training and I did some running and I ate well and I lost some weight. Okay, cool. I proved that I could do it. Okay, good. What did I do? And you evaluate your success criteria and the habits and the rituals and the routines that you did. Okay, that's what I did. Okay, cool, fine. Now I need to use that method, those philosophies, that mindset, and you go off and you repeat the process. It's called habits, good ones. You need to go through the process, and this is your how-to out of all of this. You need to go through the process of the step-by-steps, emotionally, spiritually, financially if there was, right down to verbally how you had that conversation in that moment where you sat down and said, hey, Mum. And then you need to evaluate each of the elements of that. and around the same land we can help you do it. Then, in the same way about the getting good health and good fitness, you turn around and you focus on yourself and go, how do I have that conversation with me? Because if I did it once, I can do it again. And you know what, Renee? If you can forgive your mother, and I'm proud of you that you did, because you should. I'm sure she's sorry for what happened. If you can forgive your mother for such a massive burden, you have now got the toolkit. Remember the tools I just talked about? You have got the toolkit and the process to do it again. And if you'll be a better coach when you start coaching from a place of what you did, rather than go, let me tell you how to coach you and being really good at getting over what you've done, but I'm still carrying the burden of mine. How much better would you be when you can let it go?
And that's the thing. I think it's been a real revelation in the last maybe couple of weeks that this is actually something that is coming up again for me. I thought I had a really good handle on it. And I think sometimes that is what it's like for us. We go through the motions and go, yay, I've nailed this. And then something comes up and we're like, oh, actually, oh, ouch, what is that? So, and that's where I'm at. And it's what I encounter with many of my women. But you've hit a nail on the head when you were talking, Stephen. I know what it is. And it's something that I hadn't realized before, that the feeling of rejection is what that's based in.
Probably.
Yep.
And rejection comes in the form of, I did something wrong. Did you?
No.
Like I said this to someone yesterday on Rachel Beck, if you're watching Rachel. I said to Rachel yesterday on an interview she did with me, I'm a 58-year-old guy. I don't have a wife. I don't have a house. I don't have a car. I don't have children. If you put out the shopping list of what a 58-year-old guy should be, according to society's rules, I'm an abominable failure. I live alone, have done for the last 10 years. I've lived everywhere, blah, 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 blah. But every single day, people write to me and then come on the show and express and open up to me. And you're talking right now to an ex-suicide, ex-multimillionaire, bankrupt emotionally, no kids, no wife, nothing that would traditionally be consumed as a 58-year-old success story. I don't even have chasing off women because I've now lost my wife, so I'm going to buy a Harley and go off and chase all these young girls. No disrespect for guys who do that. I don't even do that. But yet every single day people go, you're amazing. You're amazing, Renee, but you're making the assumption someone's judging you. And Andrea, come back in. Renee, you are the only one judging you. And someone right now is paying the price of your inability to step into what you're supposed to do.
Wow.
I haven't got the luxury of not being this present to you. You know what, beautiful? I love you to bits. I think you're a superstar. I've never, ever met you. We've spoken once. But guess what? I need you to help the 10-year-old who's being abused right now. And you've been gifted with the ability to do it. And unfortunately, that gift has come in a very, very, very uncomfortable situation called your past. But it's either a platform to serve from or it's a burden. And it'll go from burden to platform the instant you stop judging yourself, because no one else is. Want proof? The 58-year-old failure who is the poster child for complete and utter nightmare at 58 is standing here and everyone's going, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. I'm proof that you can go out into the world and say, here I am, and no one will judge you for it. The only person judging you is you.
It's me.
The only person that can give you permission to be you is you. So I'm going to do this, as I say on one of the intros somewhere. My job is to give you, to have permission for you to be you. That's my job. Stay close. And life will
be.
I'm not sure if Andrea's having problems coming back. She keeps... Kelly's back. Where's Andrea's disappeared, has she? No, Kelly's it's all happening today. But anyway, we're
having some technical difficulties today for sure. So we've lost Andrea for the moment. So I'm going to fill in. Thank you, Renee, for your vulnerability and just powerful, powerful stuff today. Thank you for being here. Do you feel like your question got answered?
Oh, yeah. And that revelation midway, I was like, oh, yep, that's where it is. And I love that. That's where growth comes from. So, yeah.
For sure. And I think...
just a quick one, Kelly. And this is inspired by Renee for everyone, but it's a question for Renee specifically, but everyone can hear it. What are you committing to in your life? Stop asking the question of why. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone goes, what's my why? What's my why? What's my wish? And what's my purpose? No. Do this. Real simple toolkit. What is it in your past that has made you proud? What is it in your past that had people applaud you? What is it in your past that's made you feel bulletproof? What is it in your past that's made you feel exhilarated about the fact that you breathe? Ask yourself what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Ready, everyone? The answer is your why. Stop asking why. What's my mission? Start asking, what is it that I do that makes a difference in my life and others' life? What are the success stories and those little peaks that have gone, wow? And what are the things when they've punched you in the soul and you've been devastated? What caused the devastation? Because the successes in life and the things that take your soul's breath away is your why. Go and ask yourself those questions. Stop asking why and start asking what, and you'll get why by default. Kelly?
Thank you, Stephen. Powerful stuff. All right, so moving on, I'd love to promote our academy. This is a great service that Stephen provides, and here's just a quick little video that explains it.
Welcome to Soul Evolution, Institute plus Academy plus one-to-one coaching, future state mapping, discovery to execution, assets assignment, and marquee marketing. Future state mapping takes into account a number of different classes from inside the Institute. Discovery to execution, behavioral marketing, how to build and develop content. It also provides you with all of the assets and all of the tools that I use to build and develop my brand. Assets assignment, my academy class, your expertise everywhere. How do you assemble and package everything about your brand? Whether you're active in creating online content or whether your brand and your business and services is offline. And then finally, defining marquee as leading and preeminent. How do you create a marquee look, marquee social, marquee content, marquee message, and marquee community? And there's a number of courses inside the Academy that provide this. As always, there'll be a set number of sessions you'll have with me. If you haven't done the pre-work, don't come to the session. It's a workshop, it's not a talk shop, it's to get things done. Be well and be brilliant, and I'll see you inside of Soul Evolution.
And just welcome back, Andrea. And technology and LinkedIn and Facebook and what microphones, bring it on. We're not going to stop. Everyone, I call it Soul Evolution because it's not how to do Facebook. I call it Soul Evolution because it's not how to make videos. I call it Soul Evolution because it's not how to create a funnel. All of that stuff is abundantly available. What are you doing about having the grounding in who you are so you can place it in all of those online buckets that are everywhere? There is no shortage of information about how to do this and how to do this and how to do this and how to do this. But every single time someone comes on this show, the very first thing they ask is, Steve, how do I unlock me? Well, okay, if there's so much noise out there from all of the videos and all of the funnels and all of the websites and all of the content and all of the social posting, and consistently people are coming in asking me, Steve, how do I unlock me? What are you posting? And Renee said it beautifully. When she unlocks the commitment to herself, her business and the benefit to that 10-year-old that's being disrespected right now is going to stand out and be the marquee preeminent content in the assistance to children that deserve better. And Renee and Michelle are coming to help you. Andrea.
Well said, Stephen. I was feeling a bit of rejection myself when the system took my video out and kicked me off. But I wanted to circle back really quickly because I did want to say something about Renee. I can totally relate with you, Renee. I have that history as well, had issues with my own family. And what really helped me that someone told me was, pretend you are looking at your 10-year-old self and pretend you are speaking to your 10-year-old self. Would you have problems as an adult forgiving that little 10-year-old child? That really changed my perspective. When I started speaking to my 10-year-old self, in my case as well, I started having more empathy, and I started having more a connection with her. And she really needed that connection because I was ignoring her all this time. And that's why I couldn't move on. So when I started having a relationship again with my inner child, things started to get a little better.
I love that. I do that work quite a lot, actually. I pull myself out of moments of that self-flagellation, you know, when we're pecking on ourselves, and I'm like, whoa. And it's a very powerful tool, and you're right. Absolutely.
And if you think about what was on whatever slide it is, don't have to go to it, Kelly, but if you think about the slides inside the masterclass, it talked about children find it easy to forgive.
Yes.
It's stunning what you've just contributed, Andrea. And from a place of past burdens, it's our platform, so well done you. It's easy to go back because the 10-year-old you, the 10-year-old Renee doesn't understand the concept of having to forgive because there's too much faith and hope. And it's the 10-year-old Renee today that actually had the faith and hope to forgive your mother, because the adult version of Renee had to go through the process of forgiving her. Now the adult version of Renee needs to go through the process of forgiving yourself. And exactly what Andrea said is completely right. If you went back to the 10-year-old version of you, forgiveness of you would not even be in it. 10-year-old Renee wouldn't even know what she did wrong until someone told her that's not what men should do to you in your own home. You would have intuitively known. I get that. To ladies, but so when you go through that journey of what did I do with mum, if you think of that dietary and fitness thing I talked about, when you role play through from the moment you decided to forgive your mum to the moment you said sorry and you hugged it out and all the different things you may have done, when you go through that process, I guarantee Andrea's contribution was present. The little girl had the hold of the big woman called Renee, and she held you by the hand on the pathway to forgiveness to your mum. Allow, as Andrea so beautifully said, allow 10-year-old Renee to hold your hand on the path to forgiveness of yourself, because the world deserves what you're capable of doing with what you've been through. And beautiful, I'm so sorry to say this to both you and Michelle, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. What happened to you was a gift, because if you don't think it that way, it's going to be a tragedy for the rest of your life. Andrea?
Yeah.
It truly is. When you change that perspective and acknowledge that the journey we all are in was meant to be, and it is a gift, it really has the power to change your life. So we've reached the point of the show where we sadly need to wrap up. But as you saw, the experience does not have to be over. This is just a little glimpse, a little teaser of what you can get out of the Sadieland. So please feel free and continue this journey and join us in our Guru Lady Melody backstage. Again, reach out to her and she can give you more details. Before we wrap up, let's do the Stephen tradition of aha moments. So let's go through our guests again. Michelle, what was your aha moment today?
Muted, Michelle.
Sorry.
Andrea, you can
My
mute her.
apologies. There's lots of aha moments, but I think the one that I had is the discussion that we just talked about now, is that so often we have life events that we need to forgive ourselves or someone. We have to go back to that space in our childhood or that place where we knew how to do that. That was a great reminder for me, and that's part of the journey of where I got to where I am now, is deciding to take that resilience from my childhood of what I was like back then in those moments and visually see it, and have my childhood self come along with me on the journey of life, because her perspective is much more clear and much more resilient and bright than I utilize when I'm an adult and get it clouded. So that was mine.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle.
We go on to Renee.
Definitely for me, Stephen, when you said, look at how I went through that process with my mum, what was going through my head, what did I say, why did I need to do that, where did that commitment come from, and apply that to myself. So simple, but so flippin' practical.
Take the board off for a sec, Kelly. Just take it out completely. So just the journey thing again. Ask more about that, Andrea, while I'm writing this stuff down. Just expound on that a little bit more, especially the aha moment. This is not so much for the wrap up. I want you to immerse yourself in what you're about to do.
Okay, me or sorry,
Renee.
Yep. What I'm about to do. So there was very much a strategic process of that realization of how much I loved my mum, and working through that resentment, like you said, putting that resentment aside and actually seeing her for who she was as a human being, and her own experience, and not blaming her for that. And I'm seeing now that I am blaming myself, not so much for what happened to me. I don't blame myself for that. But that feeling of rejection, was I not lovable enough? Was I not worthy enough? Why was I constantly rejected? Not just by my mum, but every relationship post that. I know my worth, yet I can see I'm still beating myself up going, yeah, you say you're worthy, but why were you continually rejected then? So I need to go back and see what I did with my mum, how I saw her, and honour myself in the same way.
Can I tell you something? Sorry to jump in for a second, Andrea, but I just want to say one line to this. Renee, you weren't being rejected, you were being prepared.
Yeah, wow.
You were being prepared. What happened to you at 10 was the platform. Your rejection is the preparation. Because guess what? No one can do anything to me anymore. And it's not because I'm big bravado Steve. What are you going to do? Take the love of my life away? Take my cars away? Take my home away? Take my family away? Take whatever chance of children I had away? Take a relationship with a woman that, of course, I miss? What are you going to do? Make me bankrupt? Make me go suicidal? What are you going to do? Come on my show and tell me that, oh, maybe, Steve, I know more than you? Yes, you do. That's why you're here, so I can unlock it. I introduce people to their potential and teach them to be great with it. You weren't being rejected as an adult. You were being prepared so the little girl can take you on the pathway to your dreams. Andrea?
Oh, yes. Yes, Renee, that. Yes, actually, my aha moment is I have tons, as you know me, Stephen, but what you just said truly topped it. You weren't being rejected, you were being prepared. That completely spins everything that I've experienced in my life. And you feel a sense of gratefulness to have gone through that, because, oh, wow, I was picked to be on this platform for a reason. And now I can fully commit to the journey that was destined for me. So Renee, that's a really a place of power, of honor.
Yeah, total revelation,
as well.
Realization, empowerment. Come at me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right? Wonderful. I know Kelly's been helping a lot. I want you back in here. I want you to share your aha moment as well.
Guess who's turned into Bossy Boots?
I'm sure I'll hear it later, but Kelly?
No, go for it. I love it. Everyone's got to chip in. Oh, the board's big enough. Kelly.
I'm muted. So, yeah, everyone, again, there were so many aha moments, but I think I've said this one before, and it's a staple, Stephen, that forgiveness is a commitment and that it's complete. That to me really hit home today, that it's complete, right? That it's not partial, it's complete. It's of others, it's of me. Forgiveness is complete, and it's a commitment. To me, that landed tonight.
Thanks, cool. Kelly. You're a good sport. Thank you.
Anytime.
Stephen, can I say real quick? Can I say hello to acknowledge Melody and Kat that have been backstage as well? I truly appreciate them being here. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much. Right. Let's see if we can do this. Where's the board for me? Okay. Michelle, you said events. Life is a series of events. Those events are the bricks, and forgiveness is the mortar and cement. Try and build the house called your life with a bunch of stacked bricks, and watch how easy it'll fall over in the wind. So your life is a series of events. Those events are the bricks, but your forgiveness and your commitment to your forgiveness is the cement. Renee, your journey, apply the journey lessons that you've received. Lessons evaluated release us to build our brick cemented platform to serve from. Andrea, prepare, because events and lessons that make them your gifts, so they'll arrive as your courage. And Kelly, you're right, complete your journey to release, because release the events that will create your forgiveness on the journey of the lessons that will create your platforms, so you can prepare to have the courage to serve by your example and speak the truth of how you teach rather than what you watched on a video and regurgitate. You can't serve the soul of someone else until life has punched you in the soul and you got up and said, bring it on. Andrea?
Bring it on, indeed. Wonderful. Now, the best part is right now is we come to the end of our show, but that means it's time to celebrate. Are we ready to celebrate? Because we just wrapped up a historic moment. Season 2, show number 1. Congratulations, everybody. We made it.
To everybody.
Any last words, Stephen?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We finished last season show and we had a wrap-up show and everyone said don't change anything, and we've changed a lot of things, but the fundamentals are just the same. And then after 6 months of endless preparation and a lot of patience from lots of people, I'm overjoyed that a guest that came on wanting to know what their commitment was is now a co-host of the show. A lady who came on who couldn't breathe in episode 19 is now sitting backstage taking notes and preparing content for the preparation of what happens afterwards to share the message. A lady that I met on a rally of Andrea's when I woke up at 3 a.m. on a Sunday is now the producer of the show. And in between having dinners with Mark Wahlberg and all the other production level stuff she does, she dedicates her time to helping us. So everyone, when you're on the journey of decision of what your what is, because you evaluated the things that you love, do not be surprised when the journey of life and the universe starts sending you the gifts called Andrea, Melody, Kelly, Katja, Renee, Michelle. They'll send them. Only if you, just like Christmas tree, put up your tree and then wait for the gifts to come and then shower them with your gratitude.
Beautiful, Stephen. And let's not forget the biggest gift of all is Stephen under the Christmas tree. Stephen has always told us that once you meet him and once you continue to discuss and dialogue with him, your life will change. And I can say without a doubt, my life has changed. And I will definitely look forward to what's next. Michelle, Renee, thank you so much for being here. You ladies are super women, and I so admire you. Thank you so much for your courage, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome, beautiful. Thank you so much.
And for those of you that are eager to have more, please check out as Melody, our guru lady, is going to put in the chat and reach out to you how you can become a guest once again. And if you want to be part of the Sadieland and the BU Academy, there's definitely more content there, more to experience. Stephen?
Indeed. You know what? I have made a decision and a commitment that I am going to give away everything I've learned in the last 10 years for less than $1 a day. And this is not an upsell, everyone, but I'm only going to do it on the basis of people with these 3 characteristics. Andrea has it, Kelly has it, Katja has it, Melody has it, Renee and Michelle have it. There are 3 characteristics of people that enter to Sadieland, that pay the $20 to be inside of Sadieland a month, to pay the $47 to get access to everything plus coaching from me on a couple of months, a couple of weekends a month. They've got to have something to fight for that's beyond money. They all do. They've got to have a work ethic to learn. They all do. They've got to have a self-belief to invest in. They all do. But here's the kicker, everyone. If you don't have something to fight for that's beyond money, Desadieland's not for you. But if you don't have something to fight for that's beyond money, your life is not for you, and you need to fix that, whether we help you or not. Thank you, Andrea and Kelly.
Thank you, Stephen. So remember, what are you fighting for? And are you willing to step up to it and ask your question? We'd love to have you. Join us next time every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you next time.
See you later, everyone. Be well and be brilliant.
Start investing in the world called your dreams.